Ever tried to swat a fly that just won't leave your room? Now that's persistence. Let's think about that pesky fly for a moment. You've probably noticed that no matter how many times you attempt to swat it away, it just keeps coming back, buzzing around your ear, refusing to give up. That, my friends, is what we call fly-level persistence. Now imagine if we applied that same level of determination to our own lives. If we were as relentless in pursuing our dreams as that fly is in its mission to dodge your swatter. Picture yourself as that fly. The swatter is every obstacle you face, every setback you encounter. But you, like that fly, just keep on buzzing, keep on trying, no matter what. So the next time you're feeling down, remember that fly. Remember the determination it showed, the resilience it had. And remember, so if you've ever felt like a fly dodging a swatter, you already know a thing or two about persistence. Remember Thomas Edison, the guy who invented the light bulb? Well, he didn't just wake up one day and say, "I think I'll invent a light bulb today." No, the story of Thomas Edison is a tale of determination, grit, and most importantly, persistence. It's about how a regular man transformed into a legendary inventor, not by a stroke of luck, but through relentless hard work and countless failures. Edison wasn't born with a light bulb in his hand. He had to sweat it out just like any of us. He toiled in his workshop day and night, making 1,000 unsuccessful attempts before he could finally invent the light bulb. That's right, 1,000 attempts. He could have stopped after the first, second, or even the 500th failure, but he didn't. Instead, he picked himself up, dusted off his coat, and got back to work. Imagine the kind of determination it would take to keep going, even after failing 1,000 times. It's easy to lose faith in ourselves after a single failure, let alone 1,000. But not Edison. He believed in himself and his vision. He knew that each failure was not an end, but a step closer to success. Now you might wonder, how did he manage to keep going? Well, it's simple. Edison had an unusual perspective on failure. He didn't see his unsuccessful attempts as failures. Instead, he viewed them as lessons that taught him what wouldn't work. In his own words, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset, this unwavering belief in his work and his refusal to give up in the face of adversity, is what set Edison apart. It's what made him a true champion of persistence. So, the next time you face a hurdle or a setback, think of Edison. Remember his journey from 1,000 failures to one of the greatest inventions of all time. Let his story inspire you, motivate you, and remind you of the power of persistence. Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Now that's what we call persistence. Ever heard of a little book series called Harry Potter? Yeah, I thought so. Our tale begins in the early 90s with a young woman named Joanne Rowling. You may know her better as J.K. Rowling, the name that would later become synonymous with the magical world of Hogwarts. Back then, she was a single mother struggling to make ends meet, far from the image of the successful author we picture today. Rowling had a dream. She had this idea, this story, brewing in her mind of a young boy who didn't know he was a wizard. She poured her heart into this story, writing in cafes while her daughter slept beside her. But bringing Harry Potter to life was no walk in the park. Rowling faced rejection after rejection from publishers, each one a blow to her dream. But here's the twist. Rowling didn't give up. She didn't let the rejections deter her. Instead, she persisted. She believed in her story, in the character she had created, and she knew that others would too. She just had to find the right people who would give her story a chance. And then, after a year of trying, Bloomsbury, a small publishing house in London, said yes. They published Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and the rest, as they say, is history. Today, the Harry Potter series has sold over 450 million copies worldwide, has been translated into 78 languages, and has spawned a media franchise worth billions. J.K. Rowling didn't just become an author, she became one of the most successful authors in the world, all because she refused to give up on her dream. Remember, success is not about never facing rejection or failure. It's about how we respond to these setbacks. It's about persistence. It's about believing in yourself when no one else does. So the next time you feel like giving up, just remember J.K. Rowling and her journey to becoming one of the most successful authors in the world. Now you might be wondering, why does persistence work? Is there any scientific explanation behind it? Well, let's dive into it. Firstly, let's envision our brains as an old-school record player. Each time we try, fail, and try again, we're essentially putting the needle back at the start of the record. Every attempt is like playing the same song over again. Over time, our brain learns the tune, the rhythm, the nuances. In more scientific terms, this process is called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the ability of our brain to rewire and create new neural pathways, and it's the backbone of learning. When we persist, we're literally reshaping our brain, creating stronger connections between neurons, making us better and faster at doing whatever it is we're persisting at. It's like carving a path in the wilderness. The more you walk on it, the clearer and more navigable it becomes. On the psychological side, there's something called the self-efficacy theory. It's a fancy term that boils down to this: the more we do something, the more we believe we can do it. It's a positive feedback loop. Our successes, no matter how small, give us the confidence to tackle bigger challenges. And when we do face failure, our past successes provide a cushion, a reassurance that even though we didn't succeed this time, we've done it before, and we can do it again. But it's not all about the brain and psychology. There's also the simple math of probability. The more times you try, the higher your chances of succeeding. It's like rolling a dice. The more you roll, the higher your chances of landing on 6. Persistence also works because of the compound effect. Small, consistent actions over time lead to big results. It's like saving a penny a day. It might not seem like much at first, but over time, it adds up to a significant amount. So there you have it. Persistence isn't just a random concept, it's scientifically proven to work. So, what have we learned today about the power of persistence? Thomas Edison, the man who lit up our world, wasn't born with a light bulb over his head. It took him thousands of attempts, countless nights of toil, and an unyielding spirit to turn a simple idea into a revolutionizing invention. He didn't let failure dim his determination. Instead, he used it to fuel his persistence, teaching us that progress is not about avoiding failure, but about persisting through it. Then, we journeyed through the life of J.K. Rowling, a woman who painted magic into our lives with her words. She didn't start as the celebrated author we know today. Rejected by 12 publishing houses, she could have easily given up, but she didn't. She held on to her dream, persisted, and eventually, the world fell in love with Harry Potter. Her story is a testament to the idea that it's not about how many times you're knocked down, it's about how many times you get back up. In Scene 4, we dissected the science behind persistence. It's not just a vague, abstract concept, it's a psychological phenomenon, a mindset, a grit that can be cultivated and harnessed. It's about embracing the struggle, weathering the storm, and coming out stronger on the other side. Persistence isn't just about achieving goals, it's about growing and evolving along the way. But why does all this matter? Why should we care about persistence? It's simple, because life isn't a straight line. It's a complex, winding path filled with obstacles and challenges. Every step we take, every decision we make, requires persistence. Whether it's chasing a dream, tackling a complex project, or simply getting through a particularly tough day, persistence is our most reliable ally. It's the force that propels us forward when everything else tells us to stop. Persistence is not about being stubborn or inflexible. It's about having the courage to continue, even when the odds are stacked against us. It's about being resilient in the face of adversity, and adaptable in the face of change. It's about learning from our mistakes, not dwelling on them. It's about turning the impossible into the possible, one step at a time. And the most beautiful part? Anyone can harness the power of persistence. It doesn't require any special skills or abilities. It's not reserved for the elite or the privileged. It's available to each and every one of us, waiting to be tapped into. All it takes is a bit of courage, a dash of determination, and a whole lot of heart. Remember, the next time you're faced with a challenge, don't swat it away like an annoying fly. Embrace it, persist, and see where it takes you. Because, as the saying goes, persistence beats resistance.